I think Alliance will be in the top form. We're improving every day.
I think the longer the LCS goes, the better we will do.
Now we need to improve a lot and try to win everything that we can.
Everyone has a chance to beat everyone.
Even though we're not as good as we want to be, we had a pretty good start.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the European League Championship Series Summer Split, coming to you live from our studios in Cologne, Germany. I'm Joe Miller here with a co-host so manly that he gives Brown a run for his money. It's Trevor Quickshot Henry.
I just wish I had the moustache to prove it as well, Joe.
Someday.
Someday. Anyways, guys, we are back with 4 more games as our teams continue to fight for position in the standings. Although based on yesterday's games, we might be looking at another tie-filled split as the teams continue to stay neck and neck with each other.
So let's take a quick look back at the news from here in Europe. Starting off with Fnatic. They continue to struggle here in the Summer Split, losing again yesterday to Gambit.
So they had a really solid start to the game versus Gambit yesterday. They, however, fell to pieces when it mattered towards the end game. They just weren't able to get those inhibitors. Even though Fnatic lost the game, though, they are playing stronger than when they lost 8 games back-to-back in the spring split. So we just need to see if they can find the cohesion, find the rotations that they need to stay relevant in the game.
On the positive side of the coin, Alliance and SK Gaming continued their dominance yesterday over the league.
Well, Alliance and SK Gaming are far and away the strongest, most solid-looking teams this split so far. It looks like they've got a great understanding of the macro-level play, and more importantly, they're implementing that in-game. I actually can't wait to see them face off in the very first game of the day. This is a top-of-the-table clash.
Well, let's move away from the teams and have a look at the 5 most popular champions so far this split. Coming in at number 1, 19 picks with 11 wins and 8 losses to his name is Lucian, just proving that he is up there with Twitch, who's not on the most picked list because, quite frankly, he's been banned most of the time. He's followed then by Lee Sin in 2nd place, just 1 pick less at 18, also got 11 wins, 7 losses to his name.
Yeah, one of the most popular junglers just because of the versatility that he offers. Somebody else that can offer a lot is Shyvana. It's a champion that's been up in the top lane, 13 picks, but very interestingly, a great win-loss ratio. 10 wins to only 3 losses. This could be the magic pick to help your team pick up a win. In the support role, I don't think anyone's going to be surprised to hear that Thresh is the number 1 most picked support at 11. A little more even at 7 and 4 as far as your wins and losses are concerned. And interestingly, your most picked 5th champion is Morgana. This is just another trending European support we are seeing in other regions, but much more prolific here in Europe in comparison to the likes of Korea or North America, for example.
Well, we'll have to see how those picks all develop over the course of the season, but for now, it's time to see where our teams currently stand here in the middle of Week 2. As we mentioned, at the top of the table are Alliance and SK Gaming, tied for 1st at 4 wins and 1 loss apiece, and then tied for 3rd. The key word here, by the way, is tied, if you didn't already notice. We have Millennium and the Super Hot Crew at 3 for 2.
And yet another tie for 5th, where Fnatic and Gambit both share 2 wins and 3 losses. And at the bottom of the table, also tied, are the Copenhagen Wolves and Roccat, with 1 win and 4 losses apiece.
Now let's move on to today's action. First up will be that top of the table clash as Alliance take on SK Gaming. Then we'll be moving into Millennium versus Fnatic.
And that will be followed by the Copenhagen Wolves versus Roccat, and then Gambit goes up against the Super Hot Crew. Now, after our games conclude, the European Challenger Series continues with Chantal Machvau versus Gamers 2 in the quarterfinals, where Freak and Zyrene will be calling the action. I sincerely hope I said that right.
You did. It was actually pretty impressive German skills. I got it later on, so I'm gonna beat you on that one.
Yeah, but you should.
Or I might just mess it up as well, like I did last time when we tried to do German stuff. And guys, if you want to track the ELS or Challenger teams, you can of course find all the statistics, VODs of past matches, articles and much more over at lolesports.com. can also find today's full schedule and vote on the teams that you think will win each of today's face-offs.
We will be checking your votes throughout the day and see who you favored. And while you're on the site, check out the tickets link at the top of the page to get details on how to join us here live in Cologne to watch these games in the studio.
And one thing you can do if you're here in the studio or watching around the world is turn to Twitter and tell us who's your favorite European LCS team and why.
I don't have a favorite, Joe, but the team that gives me the best stories to talk about is my favorite.
What a cop-out.
Anyways, for everyone watching, send your answers to us at LOL Esports with that hashtag LCS. We will check out your tweets and read a few of our favorites on air a bit later in the day.
So with the recent launch of the Fantasy LCS, everyone, including the players, have become a little bit obsessed with racking up points. Let's find out who the pros drafted as they put together their own OP teams.
So the Fantasy League seems like a really fun thing to do.
I think the fans thing is really great because it makes everyone more into the games. Like everyone cares more about individual players. Like you need to perform because I have you on my team.
I have no idea who I would pick.
Oh, I'm in like 5 leagues or something, so... But I always try to pick me first.
Well, I have to admit I picked myself.
I actually did pick myself, but I benched myself by accident.
I have as well Pekka in my team because he's my bro, you know, and I also got double lift. I first picked him and I named my team Everyone Else is Trash.
Oh, and Shuk, of course, former teammate. So I had to show him some love.
People are talking about me getting fantasy points for their team and they're so happy, and on Twitter like I get notifications like, oh, yeah, keep breaking in those fantasy points. It's like really fun. It gets into people's mind and they're cheering for their team and for their players that they have in their fantasy team.
We talk about it a bit in team chat as well, like we should get some more kills so we can win in the Fantasy League.
Last week when we played, we're like, I need one more assist because I have 9. If you get 10, you get 2 more points. Once you're in the game, unless it's 100% over, you don't think about it at all.
Fantasy don't kill him, man. My points. Don't. My points. Fantasy points, dude. Don't. I can't catch him. Don't. Fantasy points. I can. Yes. No.
And of course, you guys can play along with the pros by heading to fantasy.lolesports.com and draft your own team. I just want to put it out there that the Banana Kings did in fact finish top of the Castle League in week 1.
Yeah, unfortunately, they took me down along with them. Touche, deserved, well played.
Been saving those bananas for a long time and I finally get to use them. But guys, let's get into the games as we kick things off with Alliance versus SK Gaming. Alliance went 2-2 against SK during the spring split where they, yesterday of course, absolutely destroyed Millennium, an incredibly one-sided affair. Alliance will be looking to replicate that result against SK Gaming, who also had a convincing win of their own yesterday against Roccat.
So let's start with Alliance. Yesterday they gave Kerp LeBlanc and they locked in a heap of comfort picks for themselves during picks and bans. They had a top lane Shyvana, they had Lee Sin in the jungle, Froggen was in a comfort pick like Nidalee, and there was very little out of the ordinary as far as their comp was concerned. But what helped Alliance was their superb mechanical play. It just opened up a whole bunch of objectives, and then their immaculate map control. They really demonstrated control in those early stages of the game. I do want to take a moment to highlight Shuk and Nif, who both stood out on their signature champions, Lee Sin and Thresh. These two players really work well together as they more often than not combo their abilities together to rack up those very exciting big play moments. If they can get Lee Sin and Thresh again, expect more of the same.
And on the other side, SK Gaming looked equally strong during the laning phase and mid-game. However, they took their time to close out the game against Roccat yesterday, but I think it was a case of them being very safe.
Yeah, they were playing safe. It was calculated as well. We briefly spoke to N-Rated earlier, and he was saying how the team had complete dragon control. They took 6 yesterday, which equals the total number of dragons from 4 games during week 1 of the summer split. And N-Rated said, we ended when we meant to end.
Yeah.
So they played patiently and it worked. Even though they had that massive lead, as we've talked about, they took a slow, long time until they eventually went for that final push to actually finish the game. I just want to step back and quickly say that both SK Gaming and Alliance have a lot of expectations on their shoulders. And these two teams could very seriously represent Europe at the 2014 World Championships. So it is still very early in the split, and this will be the first time these teams have met, but every single one of us should be watching because this is very possibly a 2 of the top 3 teams.
Gonna be a cracker of a game, that's for sure, guys. Let's check out the starting lineups, though. On the blue side, first of all, is Alliance with Wicked in the top lane, Shook in the jungle, Froggen in the mid lane, and the duo of Tabs and Nif.
And on the red side, it is SK Gaming with Freddy in the top lane, Svenskar in the jungle, Jez is playing mid with Candy Panda and Enrated as the AD carry and support.
And our featured matchup for this game takes us to the AD carries, where Tabs will face off against Candy Panda. Now, both of these AD carries have performed so well so far this split, but Tabs is just outshining Candy Panda with a higher KDA and higher CS after 10 minutes.
Yeah, but the biggest thing to note about these 2 AD carries is the fact that their teams actually do rely on them quite a fair amount to win games. If you look at both Alliance and SK this split, just in summer, it's their duo laners that have been very instrumental in helping secure those wins. Hence, you see them running those carry champions like the Cogmore, like the Twitch or the Vayne. You could argue Candy Panda and Vayne, not great summer, did much better in spring. But I think this is going to be a very exciting matchup if we can see Tabs and Candy Panda going head-to-head in a straight-up 2v2. But it might not be the case because yesterday, SK had a good lane swap. If Alliance feel they can get a lane swap that'll benefit them, they'll look for that as well.
Really excited to see this one. So let's check your votes for this match. According to the clicks over on LOLesports.com, you think Alliance are going to win it by 68%. That's a bigger margin than I expected for a top 2 clash where I think both of these teams have looked equally as good.
They have looked equally as good, but Alliance have just finished faster. That means a lot because SK sort of dawdled almost from a viewer perspective and dragged their feet yesterday. It does burn a little bit of confidence. Do they know how to close? Oh, we should. Can we trust Enrated when he says, we finished when we intended to? You know, at the end of the day, it was flawless. They didn't lose the team fights and they did win the game. And we'll see today which approach is better.
And that's something we're going to find out. And also something that is hard to really say. Are they wanting to finish later and later and later, or are they having trouble? Sometimes it's hard to weigh exactly what the problem or not a problem as the case may be. But either way, we're into the bans and the picks. First out of the gate here for Alliance on the blue side will be Kale, banned out in a third of the games that we've seen so far, and who'd have thought it? A red side Kassadin ban.
Yeah, nothing surprising yet. Interestingly, Kale was banned against Alliance yesterday by Millennium, and Kale was available for SK Gaming to run, but they opted not to do it. It was a last pick Ziggs for Jez's yesterday. So Alliance really not wanting to deal with that Runon's Hurricane build that we've been seeing from Jez's, and he's used to great effect last week.
So, second ban out of the gate. Morgana we saw in our top 5 picks so far of the summer split, the second most highly picked support champion behind Thresh, and of course Enrated himself has played a lot of Morgana so far this split.
2 things I want to highlight. Lucian is still up, Thresh is still up, LeBlanc is still up. I believe one of those could be a very serious consideration for first pick here for Alliance and crew. Yesterday, they locked in Shyvana and Lee Sin actually as 2 other alternatives if they get Wicked on a good comfort pick, and we'll see what they're going to prioritize.
Yeah, I mean, Twitch is left open here, Jax is left open here. We'll see, just to go through the last bans, Ziggs was banned away by Alliance, Nidalee, Yasuo, the last 2 bans by SK Gaming, and of course Alliance have first pick here. The question is, do they go for Lee Sin? We already know that Lee Sin is right up there at the, in the top echelons of tier right now when it comes to picking up jungles. In fact, Shook has played in more but 1 game so far, and they will lock it in this time.
So if Freddy wants to run Jax, Alliance have run Shyvana into Jax and beaten it.
Yep.
Go back to last week where Alliance just destroyed Soaz and Fnatic running that exact same matchup. SK, I think, were quite smart by leaving a lot of options open, but whatever champions they lock in, they need to play around them very effectively. If Alliance get a strong lead against Jax, which is what we were predicting early on, they could shut Freddy down. Thresh is still up. Twitch is still up, as you've highlighted. LeBlanc is still available. There are a lot of priority picks here for both of these teams, and we'll need to see where they're going to put their emphasis and what they feel they're confident in taking down their opponents with.
So if we look through the games played for Enrated here as they are hovering over Leona. Morgana, Zyra, Leona. So he's not a player that's been going to Thresh very often, and when he did in the spring split didn't impress us all that much, albeit just a few plays. However, his opposite number, Nif, has that Thresh available to him. We've seen that combo already between Nif and Shook on Lee Sin where he's kicked him into the hooks, and they've been able to, I mean, yesterday was the prime example in the game against Millennium. 2 kills, the first 2 kills of the game came through combos from those 2.
The one thing that does play into Enrated's favor on this Leona is he goes way, way, way back on Leona. In my mind, he was still one of my favorite Leona players from Europe throughout all of last year. So you've got a very strong engage. You've also got a nice tool to make use of. If Leona goes into a team fight, she can run amok and buy time for Jax to create troubles. But we are expecting that Shyvana, as we touched on, there's no emphasis in locking in Thresh because the supports are off the board. So Alliance can grab 2 more priority picks, and we're most likely going to see SK leaving that mid lane pick to last. So the jungler now for Svenskeren, does he want Evelynn? Does he want Elise? You know, if it's going to be Orianna, that's a safe pick, but you're not really revealing anything and you're setting yourself up for a wombo combo. I'm not a massive, massive fan of Orianna's in this meta at the moment. I prefer playmaking mid laners.
And I think at this stage of the picks as well, when you've got the final pick available to you, they've opted to lock that one in. They'll take Elise as well for the jungle here. For Svenskeren, as we mentioned, both of these players, both these jungles are huge, huge Lee-Sin players. This time was taken away by Shock.
I wonder if they're leaving the AD carry to decide if they want to run something a little scarier, maybe a Vayne, maybe Twitch. You know, something that is less escape, something that if jumped on could be in trouble, but could also carry a game. It is a possibility. If you combo the Shockwave, Leona, the Jax CC, and you put a Twitch, rat-a-tat-tat through all of that, that is very, very threatening. But again, it is somewhat reliant on the bigger 5v5s and landing everything. What it does play into SK's favor if they go Twitch, they have such great skirmish and pick potential. In the smaller 2v2s and 3v3s, Elise, Leona, Jax, and Twitch are terrifying at finding solo targets, killing them, and pushing towers down. So that is a possibility for SK if they want to run the sneaky rats.
I was just about to say, as Alliance, of course, locking the Thresh, we already expected that, but Froggen was thinking about taking the LeBlanc. Lulu still open. He played Lulu in the first 4 games, actually. Sorry, not in the first 4 games. He played 3 games of Lulu after that, and looked pretty damn solid with that one. And it looks like SK are going to possibly go over to the Twitch, and there's a lock-in for it. So things happening here to maybe as we expected them to happen in the later stages of the picks.
So it's the priority champions for, I think, both of these teams. There is just a lot of comfort all across the board. A lot of SK's 5v5 power will rely on Jezus getting good shockwaves. Jax and Twitch can do a whole lot in that situation, but they're all going in. There's not going to be a lot of peel or protection for Twitch. So in terms of, you know, the skirmishes, both of these teams actually have so much that they can do well. There is safe, reliable wave clear from that Orianna under towers. Lulu is going to do great at holding off waves. You've got Jax and Shyvana, they're going to become split-pushing monsters, and you've got very good junglers that offer power at all stages of the game. The lane swaps is probably going to determine a very, very large portion of this game and how well Alliance can control this Jax. The sooner Freddy hits that power plateau and that power spike, the more likely SK are to win this game. And we need to see if Alliance can delay or prevent that entirely.
Well, now that the players have selected their teams, who do you guys think has the better lineup? Send us a tweet to @LOL Esports with #ALLwin or #SKwin, and we'll check out the results shortly. See if that vote has swung any. It was 68%, I believe, in favor of Alliance from LOLesports.com.
I do not think you can actually call this anything other than 50-50. Lulu's going to need time to ramp up, and because Lulu's not a game-winning champion, she can, you know, you need your teammates to perform well. If Froggen makes a misplay, if somebody else gets caught out, all of a sudden all that power of Lulu is very, you know, is removed. But it's the exact same story for Orianna. Orianna can win a game with a shockwave, but can also lose a game with a terrible shockwave. So there's a lot of importance on these mid laners to be in the right place at the right time and use their ultimates appropriately to help their teams out.
Well, definitely a very exciting game in front of us. A game which will, of course, decide who finishes top of the table. Maybe getting a little bit ahead of myself there. We're only in week 2. Who goes top of the table here today for week 2? It is, of course, Alliance taking on SK Gaming. Will we see anything at level 1? Week 1 Super Week actually had a decent amount of level 1 action in it. Things have slowed down somewhat here in the second week, though.
They have slowed down a little bit. Yesterday, our 4 games, we did see those trinket wards, mostly just resulting in either buff trades, or we even seen the odd sort of 4v0 push yesterday as well, going back to some early towers. I think SK Gaming will be looking for a lane swap. Shyvana can punish Jax in a 1v1, and Lucian and Thresh can punish a Twitch and Leona in that 2v2. So we'll see if SK try to initiate anything. They've got about a minute left. But for the time being, it looks as though we've got straight up head-to-heads.
Initial wards going down, much to the delight of the crowd here, apparently. And both on the bottom side of that river. Nif and Tabs currently on the bottom side as well, as we're seeing over for SK Gaming. So, as it currently stands, of course, still early stages here, only 120 in. Both duos on the bottom side of this map. This could be very interesting. Will Nif and Tabs actually head in? Shyvana and Lee Sin are starting off by the red buff here for Alliance.
So it looks like a buddy system start for Shook and Wicked. It'll give Wicked a small advantage in experience if Freddy doesn't go to lane. Now the question is, what does Freddy do with this very first wave? We have seen top lane Jaxes punished in the past for pushing a wave early or just extending past the river, and that is what cost him. That is what's put them in bad positions in the past.
There's the vote then, 78 to 22%. It's actually swung further in Alliance's favor here, so you guys obviously favoring that Alliance lineup. And look at this, Tabs and Nif are stood on top of a ward. Enrated, Candy Panda coming in. Nif's where's he gonna go here? He's thinking, do I go north, do I go south? Either way, Candy Panda's right on top of him. There's a lockup. Nif in trouble, that is a good play. He will use an early flash, but that's a lot of damage from the rat. Will the poison be enough, or will they turn this one around? Candy Panda now down to less than half HP, but Shook's not got the damage for him either.
That is so many summoner spells blown, and I don't know if that was even worth it. At 2 minutes and 15 seconds on the clock, that would have been 230 to 250 gold maximum. So flashes burn. Every summoner spell for the duo lane of Candy Panda and Rated is gone. To be fair, they got heal, flash, and exhaust from Tabs and Nif, but Tabs does have that additional flash to play with. We need to see if Shook or Svenskeren can take advantage of no flashes or most flashes being down in this duo lane to come and get some early ganks in play.
You have to feel that it's the somewhat easier target here when you look around the map, considering that those flashes are burn, all of them but Tabs, as you rightly said, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Look at this, Svenskeren already on his way down there. There's no wall to spot him out, so he's got into the brush.
Now, I think the game plan from SK would have been for Svenskeren to focus this lane anyway. A Lucian Thresh can really punish a Leona in the early stages of the game, because in order for Enrated to get any sort of lane presence or lane dominance, he needs to go all in, which is quite risky. Now we'll see if Enrated decides to fire, but look at the damage Tabs has just done solo. Leona offered no threat to him. With Nif returning, oh, they've caught Tabs.
Tabs actually taking a lot of damage back there on that front, and you see though the power of Thresh with the flay, with the hook that can come out afterwards. If he times it right, can even stop Leona going in the first place. And there's the hook onto Enrated. No one really ready for it though. Tabs taking a while to reply, but he flashes in, and there is the flash we were talking about earlier. The only summoner spell left in the bottom lane, and he gets Alliance first blood.
That is exactly the point we were talking about. Because of Thresh and Lucian having more tools to work with and more range, they punished Candy Panda and Enrated. Svenskeren, for a second time, is trying to look for a gank, but Froggen is very deep under his turret. So that gold does land in exactly the hands that Alliance were wanting it to. Tabs gets near the full amount. It was just prior to 4 minutes, and we just need to see if they can keep punishing it. That flash will still be down for a few more minutes, so if Enrated bites off more than he can chew, there is the risk to be punished and for more kills to be secured.
And again, all started, well, you could argue it was all started by SK in the first place, going in there, trying something. But it's Nif's hook that again proves so crucial for Alliance. He got first blood for them with a hook underneath the mid tower yesterday onto Kerp, and this time around managing it on the bottom as Freddy now up at level 4, feeling a little bit more confident. He was slightly behind in CS, as you'd probably expect there from a low-level Jax, but he's going to start to get rolling quickly here.
So that was a very good trade by Freddy. He's already been back once more than Wicked because of that second Doran's Blade, and if you compare their teleport cooldowns, Freddy's is longer. So Wicked is going to have the opportunity to impact another lane or potentially go for a dragon earlier than his opponent. We'll need to see how they make use of those teleports, because it can be very, very game-changing. It is interesting to see that SK were very confident to just go for straight-up lanes. And even though Candy Panda and Rated have given up that, first blood early on, they're not losing out on CS just yet. You see a Vamp Scepter's picked up by Candy Panda, so he's not too far behind those combat stats. And because of the sort of attention that Svenskeren is showing towards this bottom lane, they could try get some control. Nif and Tabs are going to need to back out, because here comes the Spider.
Off the Cocoon lands, but there's no follow-through here from SK Gaming. There's no ward to actually spot Svenskeren coming back, but it seemed like Alliance were quite ready for what was going to happen then. They'd already started moving backwards in position towards their own tower. No real danger for them, as Shook also coming to this mid lane. Bit of presence to offer some pressure onto Jesus, but it's not really going to offer them anything other than letting them push that wave out in safety and allowing Froggen to go back home for his first shot of the game.
Yeah, we do see Svenskeren still hanging around in this bottom lane. Shook's coming to party as well. They've caught Nif.
Oh, Nif out of position here. That's 3 men onto Shook's going to have to get involved, and there he is, moving in with the slow, but Svenskeren flashes over, and Rated goes low in this one. Svenskeren, though, is going to be the easier target. Shook going to pick up that one. Can they get down in Rated as well? There's a lot of damage coming in. Tab's not quite got the abilities to make it work for them, but that will end with a 1-for-1.
Very good play, and you've given Nif Thresh. He manages to get over to the side wall, place the lantern down, and pull in the support of Shook. Thanks to that additional damage and the fact that Svenskeren had to flash to secure the kill, it just allowed him to get pushed down and killed as well. So it ends up being a 1-for-1 trade, which when you consider, it was SK that started it. SK caught Alliance out, and they responded. That was actually a very good reactive play from them, and it's given Shook that early CS lead, and I think he's been a little more effective in his ganks, although you got to say Svenskeren did get a kill as well.
Well, the funny thing is, after we praise both of these teams yesterday for how they moved the map, how they made such fluid transitions around things, this has turned into a very bog-standard game almost, with the duos down bottom, the 1v1 up top, the 1v1 in mid, and the jungler occasionally making his presence felt around the map. What
it does do, though, is it puts more emphasis on the dragons. Yesterday, Candy Panda was very outspoken and said that if you have dragon control, you win games in this meta. He couldn't necessarily expand much more than that, but he does feel that it is super important. And when you've got these top laners like Shyvana and Jax who want to split push, who want to dictate the tempo of the map, that is where we're going to have these interesting changes, these interesting moves. And it's Freddy and Wicked that'll need to be starting off, need to be communicating how they're pushing the waves, how they're taking the towers down. The very first invade that we're seeing here from SK, it is a very strong effort onto the blue buff of Alliance. Look at the vision they've got down the line of wards and the support of both Freddy, Svenskeren, and Jesus. But they don't necessarily have the timing on it yet.
Yeah, and a little bit unfortunate. I think if they'd have set up more of a trap there for Shook, they may have been able to actually catch him completely off guard. There's the blue buff, just as SK was starting to back away. Shook actually putting a ward over the top as well, so they know that blue buff's there. There goes the teleport inside of the brush, but the blue buff is going to be taken. It was actually the smite from Shook which got that for Alliance, and while it's kept on Alliance's side, it doesn't go over to the target that they'll have wanted it to in the end of Froggen.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, resource secured, but more importantly, that's a teleport blown from Wicked. That was a teleport for a blue buff. That is not a good trade. So SK Gaming have got this window of opportunity where Freddy can try to punish Wicked or try to play the rest of the map. We already see a slight difference in builds. As I say that, Freddy just teleports top lane. So he'll have a shorter cooldown, but now there's an engage. Jesus is caught a little bit by Shook.
Slowed nicely, actually will flash away from this one, and Svenskeren comes across as well, but down in the bottom lane it's all kicking off again. There is the culling coming out. Candy Panda won't get knocked down from that one, and Rated actually tanking up most of the damage from that ultimate out of tabs.
And it's just due to this lane matchup. Leona needs level 6. Shook is not done yet. Smite is available. He's looking to contest. He's got the support of tabs as well.
They're coming up there, and he lose blue buff vision for a second, regain it back as Svenskeren is going to land the cocoon. Shockwave comes down right on top of him, and Shook will fall here as he tried to contest that blue buff. The blue buff itself was in fact not smited away, which it's reset, yeah, I couldn't actually see it there. So Svenskeren of course got the blue off Shook when they got that kill, and that blue buff trying to go and be reset once again. This time Jesus is going to be able to pick that up, so SK, even though they lost the blue buff in the invade, they get it anyway because Shook comes around, they kill him and take both of them.
The interesting thing is, what were Alliance thinking? Because Shook goes in, he was overconfident, he didn't necessarily have the support of Froggen immediately, and because he caught those skill shots, he gave up a kill. Now, after losing your jungler, who gave up the blue buff, and then trying to contest, Froggen was forced to flash because of that cocoon. Again, a little bit of a risky play from the members of Alliance, feeling very confident. Enrated is going to look for a fight. He's going in.
Oh, the box coming down, the hook catching onto Candy Panda, and this is bad news for Candy Panda, trying to get away from it. He won't though, it's Tabs that picks up that kill, and Tabs now scary again at 2-0-1.
2-0-1 on Lucian, who is already a strong early to mid-game champion. Wicked wants Freddy.
Wicked wants Freddy. He's going to get stunned under the tower though, but he flashes in there. Freddy going to go down. Wicked will die as well. One more turret hit will do that. 1-for-1 in the top lane.
Trading 1-for-1, but that is a Shyvana with a Sunfire Cape against only the Bilgewater Cutlass. So not a bad trade, considering there's not a lot of tanky stats for Jax to work with over and above his passive. Because of the trade, and knowing that SK had been forced out of that bottom lane, that they got the kill on Candy Panda, first Dragon secured by Alliance, it's given them a nice healthy gold lead and a very strong start to this game. If they can push Tabs into the important objective battles over the next 10 or so minutes, his early gold lead over Twitch can definitely help turn the tide of those fights and get map control, which is what Alliance will be looking for.
Interesting game so far. Just to take a quick look, as we've already gone past the 10-minute mark. 4-3 in kills for Alliance. A couple of 1,000 gold is what Alliance lead with. And as you said, it's the scariness of the AD carry sat on 2-0-1. Wicked obviously feeling very confident in this game as well. Diving under the tower there to have a go, get a kill, but die as well in the end to Freddy. He comes back in with that Sunfire Cape. 10 CS lead that he currently holds over Freddy. If he's going to be that confident once, I expect it to maybe a recurring theme for Wicked up top.
I agree, and I almost wonder why he didn't try it earlier. You know, if you do play the Shyvana matchup earlier on and you can force Freddy to burn through some of his mana, it does allow you to play quite aggressively. But because Wicked went tank instead of sustain, instead of going for like a Blade of the Ruined King burst, which is what we've seen from Korean Shyvanas, it does limit your aggressive plays. It does limit your aggressive movements. Nevertheless, advantage in CS to Wicked. He has made the first move and forced Freddy to go under the tower. But the roles are reversed in the mid lane. Jez actually has a small lead over Froggen, which I think is somewhat expected in an Orianna matchup because of the abilities. But Svenskeren now wants Tabs and Nif. Can SK get revenge?
Who are they going to go for? Nif actually was a target, but he flashed underneath the tower. Svenskeren taking a lot of aggro as the Colleen comes out. He will just repel away from it. But aggression from Tabs gets himself the one kill. Froggen's actually headed down from this bottom lane, from the mid lane as well. Not sure that they've got the damage here, and rated extremely low from it. But can they get in position? Tabs still trying his best as he goes back in here. Surely this means Enrated's dead, but Tabs will surely pay the price as well. He does go down. Finally, the shutdown comes in from Jesus.
That's very important. The bonus goal from the shutdown landing in Jesus' back pocket as his very first kill. That was a poor dive from SK. They focused the support, Tabs was left uncontested, and all of the CC was blown just on Nif. Candy Panda was tanking the turret the entire time. So because Tabs, this is exactly what you're going to see playing out. Svenskeren comes from the sideline, and Tabs just melts his HP. Now the turret gets 1 and 2 hits onto Sven before instantly turning to Candy Panda. They wanted that turret aggro and rated first. If Candy Panda and Svenskeren had more time to deal damage without being shut down by the turret, they would have turned that one around. Good roams from both of the mid laners to get you in time, and you don't expect to ambush re-engage. I don't think Alliance could have prepared for that at all. So a nice turnaround at the end of the day to give SK, I think, the kill advantage coming out of that one. But again, they're still playing a little bit from behind, and it's not over yet.
Jez is actually having to flash there in the mid lane. Shut needs to be careful though, although with the support of Tabs and now Froggen and Nif coming up from the river to this mid lane, they may even put a case forward that they're going to do some pressuring of their own. In fact, Nif waiting off to the side, the hook comes through, but he's missed there. Actually, they had vision of Nif because of the ward that was placed a little earlier on. Either way, 4 people beats 2 people, and SK have to back away from that tower. Actually, they may have to back away from the inner tower.
I think they can get that. Shook's gone in.
He has gone in. There's a wild growth coming down, and they kill off Jesus. Repel's going to get you nowhere, I'm afraid. It's a double kill for Tabs. After being taken down earlier on in the bottom lane, he comes back up with another 2 big kills. They're tanking up now the inner turret in this mid lane. Between them swapping out the aggro, they'll get the kill on it as well.
This is a massive advantage to Alliance. Their comp can do a little more earlier on because Orion's going to need some more of those items to get power, as is Jax, as is Twitch in many ways. And Alliance have got the kill advantage. They rotated earlier. They moved 4 members into that mid lane, and now they want to dive Candy Panda.
They're going to try and dive in. The play comes in. He can't even see him there. That was a blind play onto Candy Panda. The hook doesn't land. And Rator's already gone in, but Alliance got nothing to lock him up with. They don't care, though. They wanted this turret. Kill would have been nice on top of it as well, but that is the 3rd turret of the game for Alliance down.
Now, Alliance are doing a similar job to what Fnatic did yesterday against Gambit. They are moving around the map more effectively and at an earlier time. Now, this is the most difficult point of the game, to break those inner turrets. Alliance are going to need to group up and either catch SK unawares to find those picks, or just simply siege. They don't necessarily have the strongest siege powers, but because they've got an advantage, a couple thousand gold, and they have a very strong dive squad with that Lee Sin, Shyvana, and Wild Growth, they can force objectives if they feel they want to. I'm expecting them to just go top lane, push that outer turret down, and get deep vision in SK's jungle, and then just try to slink in between SK as SK are pushing the lanes.
3/4 of a minute until that dragon does come up. Froggen here pushing out that mid wave. Not much vision down on the bottom side of the map there, actually. We see just a couple on the curve brush. It looks like Enrated maybe looking to get something down of his own with that sight stone that he has in, as Nif finds himself a pink ward. However, that might find him a rat as well. No, Tabs is there, and he's pure presence there forcing away. However, the spider's coming in now as well. Nif going to get locked up, but Jesus also being fought in the middle, and by fought I mean destroyed. Froggen will get that kill, and look at this, they've turned it around in the bottom side as well, and Rated now super low. Colin with the lantern taken, that's a good solar flare, but will he get them away? No! The Q at max range from Shook connects. Look at the timing there for Dragon as well. 2 men down for SK, and Alliance now get themselves the Dragon as well.
2 fights in a row that Alliance have pulled the trigger so quickly that the animation from Shockwave from Jesus is not enough to channel. They catch Jesus out of place, and Rated and SK felt that they were catching Nif. Unfortunately, they hadn't calculated where the rest of the members were. SK give up the kills, they give up the Dragon, and they are now 6,000 gold down. This is a very, very strong start by Alliance, but they still need to get deeper. They still need to get that last outer turret down and get more deep vision. Look at the ward placements here on the blue side of the map from Alliance into SK's jungle, and they're starting to do in the red side as well. Wicked has a 2-level advantage over Jax, which is massive at this point in the game.
Yeah, and close to a 40 CS lead over him as well. And this is the thing, Wicked has already played against 2 Jax. Against Fnatic he played against Jax. Against Gambit he played against Jax. And that's Soaz and Darian, 2 extremely good top laners. The fact is that he's doing it again here against Freddy, having the better time of it.
Freddy's in so much trouble. There are 4 members of Alliance collapsing on him. Froggen is controlling the mid lane wave, preventing backup from coming in, and this is going to be a dead Jax.
Didn't really need to tank it there, Wicked, as Freddy's going to get a stun off, but he doesn't catch Tabs. There is the kickback, and in the end, an easy kill for Alliance. They took a fair bit of damage, but let's be honest, Wicked did just walk in there and aggro it.
Very good death sentence from Nif, once again landing it before the leap could come out. Froggen was doing the best he could to delay the minion wave, and he's not going to defend the tower. I don't think. One more hit.
Oh, wow.
Wow, they've caught Froggen.
They've caught Froggen out, but there's the Wild Growth coming in. They're throwing everything at Froggen here. The Shockwave goes in as well. And yes, they're going to take down...
What?
Froggen? Are they going to take down Froggen? He's running away from it. The shield on him. Svenskun's going to try to dive. Froggen is turning around. Doesn't get the kill there on Svenskun. So very close, though. But in the meantime, the inner turret in the top lane was taken away, and now Wicked coming across the side. That's a brilliant repel. They managed to lock him up with the rest, and Wicked giving a kill up there for nothing.
Bitten off a little more than he could chew, but there was no way for Wicked to know that the rest of SK were there. You anticipate if Svenskeren goes that deep on a dive, you're not expecting the rest of his team there to back him up and play. It's kind of like, you're on your own mission, bro, deal with it. Unfortunate for Wicked, he burned his teleport, gave over another kill. But Froggen, with the nearly godlike escape there, really pulled SK on a loop, really prevented any further damage. Had Froggen just been bursted down quickly, SK could have used their numbers advantage to get an inner turret of their own. But because they chased the kill and because they couldn't kill him quickly enough, they lost both top towers just for that single kill.
So close to him getting away, and After I'd already resigned him to his death there, saying he wasn't going to get away. I was right in the end, though, so I didn't look like the idiot that I thought I was going to after he starts sprinting out with a shield on him. So where does that leave us then? We've gone past the 20-minute mark now. 11-7 Alliance leading the kills. 6,000 gold lead, 5-2 up in turrets. Everything honky-dory for Alliance right now.
It really is, but if you actually take a look at the gold difference between the champions, Shyvana is 1,200 gold ahead of Jax. If you look at the AD carries, 2,200 gold separates Tabs and Candy Panda. That's basically a BF sort of Vamp Scepter at this stage. It is very, very high difference in combat stats. And I like the fact that Alliance are forcing themselves into these group engagements. They're putting themselves in the 4v4s. Now Candy Panda, he wants a bite of Tabs, but Nif knows about it. Nif is hiding just out of vision. So he's anticipating Candy Panda's movements and would have been there to help him if needed.
And that's something that we've seen all Twitch play. I mean, that's where Twitch, of course, excels. Once you get the Blade of the Ruin King, actually going Brutalizer as his second item, you're trying to sneak up on someone and get the damage in to win out on a 1v1 scenario. But this is dangerous for SK. Wicked is flanking off to the side. He can come flying through at any point with that Dragon's Descent. 4 men now there for SK, but it's 5 versus 4. Jax is finally going to join from the back.
This is exactly what we talked about. Alliance have got a lot of deep vision in the jungle, and they are brute forcing their way into this one. The culling used just for poke to try and force SK back. They've got Sven!
Walk on to Sven, couldn't they just about bring him into box range as Freddy comes forward, 2-man shockwave, Sun comes in as a wild growth, isn't going to be enough to save Froggen, but the kill's coming back as well here for Alliance. No, they didn't get down in range, and he was able to flash away, and that is not a bad defense whatsoever. 2 men taken, the poison there finishing off Wicked.
That's the problem. Alliance, they found a pick, but it wasn't on the most ideal target. Svenskeren is able to repel away. Even though Alliance had a strong gold advantage, they weren't strong enough to go for the all-in. And as soon as that 2-man stun came down from Freddy, Alliance realized they needed to back away. The key thing to note is just how much damage Sven's going to avoid. Shook is waiting on the sidelines. He's waiting to get involved. And as you highlighted, the wild growth, it kept Frog alive for a few more seconds. But unfortunately, because he was stunned by Counter-Strike, he couldn't do anything further. He couldn't get more Glitter Lancers down. He couldn't get more shields out. And it was just a strong play by Candy Panda. The poison's actually going to tick him down and get that kill. Alliance, good attempt. And I think slightly poor execution. They shouldn't have gone in on Sven. They needed to look for a different target.
Wondering now then how that bodes for confidence levels more than anything for Alliance after trying to get in there on the inner turret. The final inner turret, we should also mention, is left standing on SK's side of the map. Are they going to be thinking about stacking up with five men here once again? Problem is, we're now 22 minutes in. We look towards Freddy, whose Blade of the Ruin King was done earlier on. The Trinity Force will be done here soon. Candy Panda is going to stealth in there. They get the slow onto Nip, but that is a brilliant play, and that's exactly why the Thresh does so well against Leona.
Yes, and Enrated held onto his Solar Flare for such a long time. He really didn't want to commit that Solar Flare, probably because Dragon is up. Had he been able to guarantee lockdown Shook and get a kill on Shook, I think he would have thrown it in there. Get the smite out of the equation. Shook may look for a steal here, Joe. Dragon's going very low. SK going to look to burst it.
Q lands on Svenskeren. Is he going to fall through? Yes, he is, but it's taken already by SK Gaming. And close stuff there. In the meantime, Wicked is just saying, okay, I'm going to push this one out. Let's push the top turret all the way down to half HP. The inhibitor turret there left open for Wicked. Freddy actually came back here, and we can see that Froggen is around as well, but he may just be caught out. Cocoon will actually miss, and now they change path up to the top side. Froggen has to flash away.
Very quick flash from Froggen to get out of the danger zone. You were touching on Freddy versus Wicked a moment or two ago, and I want to highlight Freddy's build. He still has not gone tank. He's going for a Trinity Force as a second item. Tabs should kill Candy.
Oh, this is going to be close, I think, with a Blade of the Ruin King coming through, and it will be Candy Panda taken. That Summon Heal making a difference in there, that's for sure. That Blade of the Ruin King helping things out, and the Ghost Blade as well, complete by Candy Panda.
Two things. I didn't take into account the Summoner Heal and the Blade of the Ruin King heal. It just gave him such a big chunk of HP. You've also got to remember the attack speed that he's going to get from the Ghost Blade. Candy Panda not only got the kill, but Wicked instantly responded with a teleport. By the time Wicked arrived, Tabs was dead. So now Wicked is without that teleport. SK have not made a very strong map-based play off of split pushing, off of teleport yet, But now we're getting to this point where Jax has his Trinity Force completed, has his Blade of the Ruined King completed. He should start to outduel, I think, everybody except Wicked. And once he gets more tanky, he should eventually start overtaking Wicked as well.
And that's the danger here from SK. And he said it right at the start about Orianna, the fact that a good shockwave wins you a game, a bad shockwave unfortunately loses you the game. And they're at that point right now. We saw it in the last fight. 2 men brought in. They ended up getting 2 kills in the end. If they can get Freddy into the right people with the ball on his head and Candy Panda spray and pray, rat-a-tat-tat, through the entire team as well, if they can pile their entire combo together, then SK can still have this game.
Yeah, I agree. This is by no means a done deal for Alliance. They've had a good job of controlling the blue buff. I think that's the 2nd or 3rd blue buff that they've put real concerted effort into securing and stealing away. And I do actually have a note that I'd love to hear from Deficio after this. Deficio was really praising Alliance's early game play yesterday, the way they pushed the map, the way they pushed minions. And I'd love to hear what his take is on this early game, because it looks as though Alliance and SK have just gone straight up, let's brawl, let's head-to-head in a straight-up fight, because the movement across the map, barring that 14-minute tower push, has been fairly standard, has been fairly run-of-the-mill here. Now Alliance, no teleport on Wicked, means he has to stick with his team, as you can notice, and it'll be up to Froggen to defend if SK ever get on the aggressive push.
Plenty of armor there in with Wicked, but we saw how much damage Jesus is doing to him. Taking a good 15-20% of his health away with just a small combo there as they clear out for wards. And Alliance are already over by the Baron, and with that scan scene, okay, SK have no wards in there. I don't think either of these teams are risky Baron teams, if we can categorize that kind of team.
Not risky Barons, but both of these teams can pull the sneaky Barons if they find an opportunity, especially because of the damage that both have. With Blade of the Ruined King on Wicked, as well as Tabs being as fed as he is, they can burn through that Baron very quickly if the opportunity presents. But I think neither SK nor Alliance will be caught out of position quickly enough. Candy Panda with the ambush, I think this is a little optimistic, but you can't blame him for trying. If anyone from Alliance stuck around, he could find the kill. For SK, they need to find a pick. That's the thing. They need to find a pick, allow Freddy to get some more farm, maybe get a little tankier, and now start playing the map. I'd like to see Freddy split pushing and pulling some threat, and then SK finding the pick with their, very strong Elise, Twitch, ambush, surprise, repel attack.
Think back as well to the Challenger playoffs from the spring split, when it becomes quite relevant since Woolite is now with the Copenhagen Wolves, but they use the Orianna Twitch combo as a kind of stealth bomber device to get the ball right into the middle of the team. It was moderately successful. The problem is that your Twitch is in the middle of the team as a hook lands onto N-rated. I'm getting excited for nothing, though. They're not going to follow through on that.
That's hesitation from earlier. Because Nif landed a hook on Svenskeren and instantly threw the box down, which basically cost Alliance that team fight. Had that box been used later, it would have been more beneficial. Smart call from Nif. They don't want to throw all in because they didn't have vision. Wards had been denied by SK. So blue buff gets taken away. Sven's in trouble. Alliance are committing to this fight. Look for the solar flare.
It's going to come down. There's a shockwave onto Shooker Frog, and it didn't really do much damage. Will hold them back. The solar flare used. Svenskun's dead. Jesus is dead. This is going badly for SK Gaming. Freddy wasn't even there. He was down on the bottom side and has not teleported up there just yet. He got himself the tower. Now will teleport in, but now it's about rescuing Baron.
This is a 3 versus 5, and Rated's gone in.
He's gone in. Froggen's gone very, very low. Can he finish him off? Yes, he can. It's Candy Panda that gets that. He's going untamed at the back, but finally they will spot him. Freddy doing a lot of damage as well. Candy Panda in the end gets the kill onto Nif. 3 men left alive for an Alliance. They've done enough to stop it.
That's not bad. In a 3 versus 5 to end up trading 2 for 2. No, that was 2 for 1. And Rated got away with his life. That was a very good Baron defense from SK. But because they overcommitted on that blue steal, they didn't anticipate the hard engage from Alliance. The Baron, 3v5. Rated has a pretty good engage, and because they burst down Froggen quickly, he can't get those shields, can't get those little answers. He just gets so zoned out by Enrated. And I think very good positional play from Candy Panda. It shows a mastery of Twitch. He hit multiple targets with that rat-a-tat-tat. got the damage down that he needed to with his slightly unorthodox build, and if Candy had been stronger earlier, and this has been a different build, that could even have been, you know, more kills from the situation. But I think props to SK for defending. They needed to. They couldn't give up the Baron and run the risk of being engaged upon. And it's actually led to them grabbing a 30-minute Dragon, which is basically in max value. I mean, we're hitting average level 16s close to it. Yep. So that Dragon's going to be worth probably equal amounts of gold to Baron. So it's a very important objective this late in the game.
Let's see what Alliance go for next. They've already started to recongregate around that Baron area. They've got Tabs just pushing that mid wave back up. Wicked, of course, is off. Split pushing. He knows that Freddy will have to be drawn out to him. Can stop the teleport from happening, but you've got to keep eyes on Wicked that entire time, as Baron, as I said, is now warded up. Pink ward there for Alliance as they ward over, a couple of wards over from SK Gaming that have already been spotted, but they're playing this one very, very cautiously.
They are, but Alliance have the cards to play with. Because Freddy doesn't have that teleport, I keep going back to it because I think both of these team comps can win the game based on how their top laners split push. Freddy will now need a couple of minutes before he can rejoin that fight. And he's got the makings of a Randian's Omen, so look at this. He can 1v1 Wicked with no problems. He's gone all in.
He is absolutely hammering Wicked here, who did have his ultimate available, and getting him low is probably the best way to stop him, number one, going top, or number two, being as effective up there as another ward comes in. Will Alliance start things off now? Will they risk this one? They're looking for the hook. The hook comes through. No one lands it. And Enrage just walking away from that, and from Frogger, who came speeding out of that Tribush. And it's all about getting the gold here and keeping control of that vision. Once again, Wicked healing up from the fountain has gone back towards the bottom. Freddy's already started walking up.
Freddy and SK are anticipating a Baron move. And because Freddy doesn't have that teleport, he needs to engage. None of the key pick abilities are landing. Zenith isn't connecting, Hook isn't connecting, but the moment it does, you can sure as hell guarantee that the team is going to go in. At this point, it is still a little risky for SK. I think if they don't land multi-man ultimates, they do run the risk of being run over, especially because of the mobility that Shyvana, Lee Sin, and Lulu offer. But for the time being, SK have found it. They've got those 2- and 3-man ultis, and Alliance are going to be the ones to pull the trigger.
Colleen coming through, half of Svenskern's health gone, not really what they would have been hoping for with that one, but it looks like they're going to go for his Solar Flare, slowing a couple at the back, but it's Nips that's been focused down, the Rat-a-tat-tat coming through from Candy Panda, and now Wicked's going to be the focus. Cocoon lands, will that be the end of him? Stun up from Freddy, Wicked does get his ulti off, and there is Wild Growth. Not enough to keep him alive though. SK have got 5 men still up, and they're going to go down mid.
They're going to look for towers. Alliance were 2 split up. Freddy did such a good job of zoning Wicked from that mid lane. He pushed Wicked away, and the rest of SK then started the engage. So tower is secured for SK. It looks like they've set their sights on the inhibitor. There's a lot of beefiness, and they do have those Spiderlings to tank up. Decide to back away because of the fact there are 3 members of Alliance standing, and it actually looks like a bottom inner turret is available. But I think the story of that fight is really just Freddy zoning Wicked, preventing that front line of Alliance being super, super impactful. And Alliance had like a 2-2-1 split there, 2 towards the top off of Baron, 2 towards that blue buff entry, and of course Wicked joining the party very, very late.
Games don't get much closer than this here. 33 minutes in, 5 all-in turrets, 14 all-in kills. The goal for this stage of the game, pretty much even. There's 1,000 gold between them, which is really nothing. However, recalls here from SK. Alliance are going to go for the sneaky Baron.
They need to get more damage on you and quicker. A third of it's been lost. I think SK, I think they're going to be too late. I don't think they can make it. Alliance, they lose the fight. They lose 2 towers, but they grab themselves Baron. We are in for a hell of a game. With Baron buff up, I think the bonus stats that would give Alliance should give them confidence in team fights. It also tends to put a pause on your opponent's team. You don't tend to see teams engaging on a Baron up squad unless they're 100% confident on their engage. And I don't know if SK are there yet. I don't know if their fights have been that good. It's really about Alliance maybe misplaying and mispositioning. But nevertheless, gold advantage now back with Alliance as well as that buff.
Well, if you need to call it
minutely.
Gold advantage right now. Really not a big difference between them. See here, Candy Panda now got a Zeal and a BF sword added in, so not quite sure where he's going to be finishing off first on that front.
He wants to
however, going to stealth in and Tabs has already started to back away from it. He's like, no, I'm not going to get caught out by the rat once again. Candy Panda will even recall in the brush without being spotted there in the end. But as you said, Alliance, Baron Buffon, SK, do they want to fight? Probably not unless they get a clear opportunity where Candy Panda gets to jump on someone and maybe has some backup. From Alliance's side of things, fight's not exactly gone smoothly for them up until now. Even with Baron Buffon for them, they're probably going to be very, very wary too.
I think so too, and I think Alliance just need to have their core unit tighten knit. They need to be grouped more effectively. And this has been such an interesting game from the consideration that it's like going back a couple of metas. Alliance have put so much emphasis on blue buff control. We've had straight up head-to-head fights. We've seen engages around Dragon. It hasn't been about catching your opponents unexpected at towers and pushing them around the map with vision and with wave control as much as we've seen from both of these teams up to this point. So, with the gold this even and with Baron, Alliance have decided they want to go for this quasi-siege, and they're going to repeat what they did 20 minutes ago. Deep vision in the jungle, they're just going to sneak a tower away. SK now caught unawares and now caught unable to defend. And Alliance, they've already got a small advantage from this Baron. What more can they do with it?
Well, that leaves just one tower up for both teams outside of the base. And of course that is with Alliance in the top lane there, the inner turret. But the rest of the map is wide open. 36 minutes into this one, and there we see it again, how much damage Wicked actually is going to be taking. They've gone on towards Orianna. Wild Growth comes onto Shook, but they may have thrown too much in there too early. Wicked going to go low. So let's go from the side, and there is the Shockwave coming out. Wicked able to stay alive from this one, and Svenskeren will have to repel away from the minions. So close there for Alliance.
It really was, and if Jesus didn't have his flash available, that could have gone so differently. Jesus instantly flashed away from Shook, who dove onto him with that Sonic Wave combo. And because Jesus wasn't kicked into the middle of the fight, or the Alliance team, he managed to get off a 3-man Shockwave, followed by the Solar Flare. This is the play. The flash was so good from Jesus reactively after the attack animation, or the cast animation had come down. And this is the combo we were talking about. It was actually just 2 members of Alliance, but I think the key members, Nif being on the front line, he then does a great job with the box. That box was so good at zoning escape, prevented re-engage. Alliance at Baron, Dragon, they regen, they're on the siege again.
Going for Freddy there. Jax not really tanky enough to be taking too much damage still at this point, and probably may have done a little bit more damage than it did the Cullen, but at the end of the day, still damage done there, and Alliance looking for an opening on this one. And we see something that we kind of looked away from here from this Alliance team. We saw it there on Wicked, that when you see the Summoner heal coming, shields from Nif with you know, the face of the mountain, with the Mikhail's heal coming in there, and the cleanse from that one. There's a lot to keep Wicked alive when he actually dives into the middle of the team.
There really is, but the problem is Alliance haven't been able to catch SK in the right positions. The 2 times and 3 times we've seen Alliance trying to force those fights in the bottom lane turret, they sort of overcommitted to that dive, didn't use their ultimates or their abilities ideally, and unfortunately lost the engage. The mid lane fight that just happened, that was Shook making an aggressive play. It didn't work out because it was flash trade for flash trade at the end of the day, but it could have. It could have been very good, and I think Alliance, they just need to try and pull SK. They need to pull SK towards them and then pull the trigger. They were trying to do it around Baron. SK played very patiently, very controlled, and they didn't make the mistakes that Alliance may be used to seeing from other teams. And I think that's the key to note. Alliance can use this tactic against some of the other squads in the LCS, but SK are just simply not putting themselves in that position at this stage.
And that's where it really tests how good Alliance actually are right now. How they're going to break through SK Gaming. We're almost at the 40-minute point of this game as they have a bit of a war over wards side of the Wraith Rush there on SK's side of the map. Baron's up in 1 3/4 minutes, which something tells me that it's going to be danced around once again here.
Definitely. 4 sweeping trinkets on both sides. And considering we've already seen the extended Baron dance from these teams, it all depends on who gets caught out of position. It really does depend on which team makes the misplaced team fights, because Wicked and Freddy, I don't think they've made a concerted effort to split push. We've seen them pushing waves, but they haven't really been committing to that role. They've been needing to stick with their team for the most part. Freddy does have teleport available, so we're going to see him start now. But the question is, Does he TP in super quickly, or is he going to actually commit to this? Because it hasn't been the focus, I think, for both of these teams. It's just little bits here and there.
You have to wonder as well, if they end up split pushing, Wicked, yes, he can follow Freddy in. Would it be even more valuable for Wicked to keep Freddy out of the fight completely and let the rest of them do the damage there? We'll have to see about that one. There's the kills. A lot, 56 kills in 4 games just in. There's 28 kills in this game already. Shows you how high scoring this game was and maybe how low scoring and efficient the teams were that won yesterday.
It's a difference in styles. This game reminds me of a Season 2 and an early Season 3 game where it was all about team fights. It was 5v5s. It's like, look, bro, let's lane for 20 minutes and then get in your face. Yesterday, it was Season 4. Yesterday was 2014. It's like, look, I don't need to fight you to take towers. I just need wards, I need faster team play, and better decision making. And that to me is what's so interesting about this matchup. These two teams who are famed for their macro and their lane swapping and their minion wave management had just gone, come on, fists up, get the gloves on, and let's go head to head. Alliance were winning, SK's pulled it back, and Candy Panda is so scary, he gets played away.
Played away, Box actually going down. Wicked's gonna dive right in there, trying to get onto Candy Panda. They hooked Freddy as well, but this is a mess. This is a very, very messy fight. Shook in the middle of them, gonna try and kick Candy Panda back. Does do that, they're gonna take him down. The AD carry's dead. Elise will repel. Jesus is burning. Froggen gets that one, and that is 2 men down. The mid laner, the AD carry, and now the jungler down here for SK Gaming. Alliance will surely want to win the game here.
They've got so much damage and so much tankiness, they can get onto the Nexus turrets. You have to question, what was Candy Panda doing going through that area of the map? Ran the risk of being caught out, did get caught out. It's all on Enrated and Freddy. They've got so little to work with, but the Nexus turrets are down. I think Alliance have done it.
There's surely no way that those two can hold on to this one. We see them retreating up into the fountain as if to say, let's not give up any more points in this one, and it will be Alliance that break through after 41 minutes. A hard-fought match for them, but they take the victory over SK and go top of the European LCS.
5-1 after 2 weeks. A very stark contrast to the 2-4 from the spring split. And more importantly, Alliance have demonstrated an ability to win in a multitude of ways. They can win by towers, they can win by team fights, they can win early, they can win late. And that was a very good performance considering how much pressure they were under in that mid game.
You have to wonder though about that last move, if you can really call it a move at the end there. It was all a very, very messy scenario for SK Game. We saw that they spotted Candy Panda, the flay came out, Box instantly went down. They tried to keep him alive, throwing the face of the mountain shield onto him, but Shook got in behind him, and that's the key. The kick threw him against the wall. And once you lose your AD carry, we saw that Jesus off to the side was already completely destroyed. Froggen finished off that one, and those are the 2 players in your team that have to be there.
You go back to the Baron fights where SK were able to beat Alliance very early on and get more kills. Alliance was split up. They had like a 2-2-1, around 5 members of SK. The exact same scenario happened here. You had a ball of Alliance members clumped up, tightly knit, surrounded by a box. If anyone from SK wanted to engage, they needed to get through multiple members and multiple forms of CC before they could do anything. And just because of the positioning, because SK were caught out of place and split up, Alliance were able to get a convincing team fight, which instantly won them the game. At that stage, that's it, GG.
Must be disappointing for SK because they held on to it so very well. The other one that we have to talk about as well is the whole decision of, okay, we pushed down the mid lane, we couldn't quite get the inner turret, so we'll take the inner turret down bottom. Then they all recalled and Alliance went, okay, they've gone, let's get a free Baron.
So the thing about that as well, I kind of think SK, they played it safe. They were thinking about the inhib turret. They were definitely playing with it on their minds. And you could see Froggen, he was hovering in the mid lane. He was sitting there, he just killed a minion wave. So the information should have been there, but it could have just been, when you're defending and you're against that onslaught for such a long period of time, you almost forget, look, we do have to think a few minutes ahead, not just simply the next team fight. Overall, SK held on well, but Alliance were definitely making moves. They had a lead in the early game. They made the plays in the mid game. Even though they failed them, they were proactive in their gameplay, and I like to see that about teams.
Well, that was, of course, the first encounter between these two teams, and well, they've got to play each other 3 more times, sadly for us, because that was a real cracker of a game. It was fantastic. You have to say after 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks now, I guess, since we've got 3 more games to go, that these are the 2 teams that are looking the best right now. Okay, this match was very different in style compared to what we've seen from them yesterday, for example, where they controlled the map so well. One team, Alliance, finishing off a little bit quicker than SK in that one, but this one was a change of style. I'm very excited to see how both of these teams actually end up going forward in terms of the style overall of their play. Well, guys, for now, Shox is over on the stage with Tabs from Alliance, so let's send it over.
Thank you very much, Joe. First off, Tabs, congratulations. What an amazing first game here today. Talk me through that bottom lane matchup. It was very exciting. At one point, Candy got the best of you there in that one-on-one, but very solid performance from you guys.
Oh yeah, so in the level 1, we wanted to try and steal their blue buff because we thought they would lane swap the top and help their jungler at red. But then they came in our back because they expected us to do it. So we had a little fight level 1, and Shook had to come, and we did some good trades, so it meant Candy Panda was really low. From there on, we won the lane, and we managed to kill Leona at one point as well. Yeah, he managed to one-on-one me once. He built Ruined King and Ghostblade, and he got like 2 crits, so I was like, no, I can't beat him. Like he did outplay me there a bit, so yeah.
But still, you guys pull it out in the end. Why do you think it is that you guys are the 2 most of the best strategic teams in the league, yet in this game, it really came down a lot to brawling and fighting straight up?
Yeah, I think it's because we're so strategic. We're not willing to give up any objectives, so we don't really create openings for the other team. So we just fight each other for the objectives all the time. So it creates a high action game.
Yeah, which is great for us, of course. Final question, Alliance doing so well here. Obviously, it was built as a super team, and it is kind of looking like that right now. How far do you guys think you can still go? How far till maximum potential is reached?
I do think that our play is quite sloppy sometimes, even demonstrated this game. We did make quite a few mistakes, gave them a bit too many openings to get back into the game. And yeah, well, we can still get a lot better, I think.
Well, that is a scary thought. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, Millennium takes on Fnatic, and we're breaking down this game at the desk. Don't go anywhere. The LCS will be right back.
Twitch here. I hit Ori is far away. Ori is far away. Stretch. Get Twitch if you can. I'm not. Leona.
Release.
Ori is here now. Ori is far away. Don't chase. Don't chase. Go and carry. Twitch.